Hello. Welcome to another episode. And I really, really wanted to make this a video podcast. But honestly, I couldn't pull it through. I doff my hat for every video podcaster out there, every vlogger out there. You guys are doing a fantastic job. It is hard, super hard. Anyways, let's get to the meat of today. Okay, there is this quote that I like. I see it everywhere. There is a new book I am reading. It was recommended by a good friend of mine, Glory, The Latte Factor. And I saw it in there again recently. And this quote says, if you don't know where you're going, you will probably end up somewhere else. I thought that was me 10 years ago. 10 years ago. I wanted so many things. I was hungry. I was hungry for so many things. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And there I was with my career thriving. I was getting all the recognition for the work I was putting in. But I just knew within me there was something more. And I wanted to also see what the apex of my career looks like. You know, I just was confused. I wasn't sure which of the nails to keep hammering. I want to imagine that you know someone that has been in this situation, or you have been in this situation where you just know there is more to you and you know you can do so many things, but you just don't know which nail to keep eating, knowing that if you eat one nail and you eat it well, you will drive it in faster. I weathered that storm, and I am happy to share with you today what I did. And I'm going to tell you that it's not, how do I put it? It's not that difficult if you have a very clear and compelling why. Okay, I have done so many things in my life. While I was running my career, I was learning photography at some point. I was making clothes at some point, learning how to make clothes at some point. I imported shoes and bags from China. I just was everywhere. And at some point I thought you really have to define what your goal is. Where are you headed? What's that thing that you want to focus on? And I took my time to define what I wanted out of life. I hear it all the time, find your purpose, find your goal, find your dream, fulfill your dreams. But I wasn't sure those words connected with me. But I was able to say and articulate what I want. And that is to live a fulfilling life. That has always been my goal. Live a fulfilling life and die leaving an impact. I didn't know how, but I was sure that I wanted to, live a happy and fulfilling life. And one of the things that sort of helped me clarify, or let me not say clarify, reinforce that was a process I took from working and I applied it to my personal life. And that was goal setting. I have a finance background, so maybe that isn't super far from me. And goal setting, every finance person knows we do it every year. You know, you start with budget planning, and it's something that finance coordinates in some organizations. And I just sort of liked it. It used to be a very busy period, to be honest, but I like it. I just like the idea that you're setting goals. You can call it any name. You could call it budget planning, you could call it annual business planning, whatever it is. The main thing is that you're planning ahead. And I liked that process. We usually start at about August, September, something like that. And then we used to call something the call letter that comes from our corporate head office to all the opcos that's operating countries to say this is what your target is for next year. And then we all come together as a business to see what are we going to do to achieve those objectives that have been set for us. And these objectives were always also pulled from our overall purpose as a business. So I liked the process. Very, very busy period, but it was interesting because you get to liaise with every function within the business and you get to hear what they have to say in terms of how they're going to contribute to achieving the objectives from the corporates. Every function looks at the overarching goal and then they define how they will contribute to this. For example, sales, which was pretty clear. They define what SKUs or what products will I be selling, at what price, in which region are we going to be launching a new product, when within the year will we launch this product. These are all the conversations that are happening. And then the manufacturing team would start asking, do we have the resources to produce what sales is requiring to sell in the new year? Do we need more lines? Do we need line extension? Do we have the raw materials? Do we have, of course, based on the lead time, do we have to place some orders? Do we have all the things? Do we have the people that will make this happen? Do we have to run double shifts? Do we have to run triple shifts? Whatever it is, they are also making those plans to make sure that they can satisfy the demand from the sales and have some buffer. And then the HR team, they are looking at how do we get the people? Do we have the right people? Do we need to hire? Do we need to rotate? Do we need to lay off? Do we need to promote? These are all conversations happening during business planning. And then finance, of course, working with every other function. Corporate affairs also. All the functions basically have to contribute because they matter when it comes to achieving the objectives of the organization as a whole, be it corporate affairs, be it legal, be it marketing. Everybody comes to the table to say what they are going to be contributing. And then for some organizations, you have strategy departments and you have strategy execution team whose role basically is to ensure that we have KPIs set for every function and ensuring also that these KPIs, the achievement of these KPIs lead to the achievement of the functional goal and objectives. And the achievement of the functional goals and objectives also then translates to the achievement of the corporate goals and objectives. So they basically operationalize the different functional objectives and they break it into months, they break it into, the minutest level. So we have leading KPIs, we have lagging KPIs, but basically with the strategy execution team looks at this and then they track it. And there's something we always say, what gets measured gets managed, what gets measured gets done. Okay, how does that apply to our personal lives? I thought about it at a time and I said, come on, what if I start treating myself as an organization where I also have different departments within me, knowing that each department has a role to play to make me a fulfilling individual, and paying attention to these different departments of my life, and then setting goals like organizations do for these different departments, tracking these goals just the way organizations do at the end of every month, identifying the variances, where I have achieved my goals, where I haven't achieved my goals. And then I'm asking myself, what do I need to do to get back on track? In organizations, for example, if you intend to sell 10 cases of X products and then you sold less than that, the question then is, how do you make up for it? It doesn't just go away, you know. It doesn't just go away as a variance and then everybody is happy. No, because if you continue to do that month in, month out, you will end up not achieving your objectives as an organization. But for our individual lives, for our individual objectives, when we don't achieve a goal or an objective we've set for ourselves, we just move on. I'm supposed to read 2 books in a month. I read one. Yeah, life happens, and I just move on. And then I begin to ask myself, is that a difference between the successful and the not so successful people, or the successful and not so successful organization? You know. Anyways, I took that test to say, let's do it. So I set up the departments in my life and I called each department by its function, basically. One department is health and wellness. The other one is finance department, which of course caters for my financial freedom now and in the future. I have relationship departments, which caters to how I am nurturing my relationship with my spouse, with my kids, with my parents, with my family, with my friends. And then I have spiritual. I have the spiritual department, which basically nurtures my relationship with my God. I have career, which focuses on how I grow and advance in my career. I also have personal development. I have business. I have education. And I set it all up as different departments. And I thought, if all this work, because I know all this contributes to my holistic success in life, if all this work well, I will find that fulfillment that I am looking for. And I will also be able to live a life of impact. Okay, so I started. I took A4 papers and I wrote in this A4 papers these different departments, and under each department, I put 3 objectives, basically 3 goals. And I put there, I don't know if you've ever heard of OKR. OKR means objectives and key results. So I put in there what I want as my objective and what success looks like for me, which will be my key results. Recently, I updated that to something I call 5XQ model, which is a model that I developed because I realized that setting goals is quite easy. Everybody does that. Oh, I want to be, the way we set New Year resolutions. I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to, we all do that. It's quite easy. Execution is the real deal. So applying this 5SQ model to, say, for example, my health department, the first question I would ask is, what do I want? What exactly it is I want to achieve when it comes to my health? And that's the first question. That's the first execution question. What? And then I begin to list it. I want to be physically active. I want to watch my diet. I want to reduce my coffee intake. I want to, and I always like to start with I want to. So I write all that down and then I move on to why. The why is the second question and it is very important. This is the compelling reason for wanting those goals. And I like it particularly because I know that sometimes when we get into the game, when we start executing, we will meet some challenges along the line. our discipline will be tested. What is that thing that will keep us right back in the game when we derail? And that's why that why is important. So for this one, I would have I want to be healthy. I want to live long. Like Oge said, we have to have that motivating reason. And this could be I want to live long for my children. The things within my control, I want to be able to do them. I want to be free of diseases and illnesses that are associated with neglecting my health because I want to improve on the quality of my life. I basically list out everything that could be the reason for me to take my health more seriously. And then I move to the third one, which is when. When is very important. It's an important question because we cannot just leave it broad. Just the same way organization says within 1 year, we should achieve this. And every month, we should have this. For example, we want to sell, say, 24 cartons in a year. We could say, flat face, 1 carton in a month. Of course, seasonality would not make a sale because, again, some months are more, rewarding sales-wise than the other. But anyways, let's just take an assumption that, it is flat-faced and it is 1 carton per month. And we know that at the end of 1 month, we can tell if we are moving towards achieving the 24 or not. If you do 0.8 this month, you know then that you're not moving close to your 24. And then you have to do 1.2 in another month. But if you don't have time attached to these goals, you may not be able to tell whether you're moving in the right direction or not. And that's why it's important to put in a when. You want to drop from a 75 to a 73, you have to give yourself like a reasonable time frame to say, I want to do that in 6 months so that I can be ready for the summer body. You have to set some timeline. Oh, I want to save X amount of money by this time. So when is very important. And that takes me to the fourth question, execution question, which is, whose help do I need? This is the same thing in organizations. We cannot do it alone. Sales needs marketing, marketing needs public affairs needs the support of everyone, manufacturing needs logistics. We all need each other. So the question is, whose support do you need to make that goal happen? And for someone like me, and for the example I'm also giving, which is on health, I definitely need an accountability partner. If you leave me to it, I am going to skip it. I like to pride myself as somebody that has a high level of discipline. But trust me, some days you just want to sleep in bed. But with my accountability partner, who happens to be my son, I have to get up and go. You need the support of people. For me also, what has helped me is that I put money behind it. If I have any goal I want to achieve and it involves some financial commitments, I do it. And if you ask, is that a support? Yeah, it could be a support. It could also be resources. We'll get to that. But let's even leave it at having an accountability partner. You could need a coach that would help you. It could be a mentor. But I always say that there is someone out there waiting for you to ask for their support. And they will be all there supporting you to achieve that objective you've set for yourself. You don't have to walk alone. Then the last one is, what resources do you need? This is where I think money comes in. Financial commitments can be a resource that you need. Time can be a resource that you need. And I like this one particularly because if I set a goal for myself to go to the gym 3 times in a week, I have to find a time for it. And the time that I have set, at least for now, the time I have set for myself is between 7:30. Sometimes I go 7:30, sometimes I go 8, but that window is the time I have to, start leaving the house for the gym. That timing sort of helped me put a structure in place. So if you're asking me at 7:30 or at 7 on a day I'm going to the gym to come have some meeting, it has to be very important for me to break that system or break that structure that I've set for myself. So basically, it is important that we identify the resources we need and we sort of set it up. It could be reading books, it could be courses, it could be anything. So long as you will need, you know, that resources or those resources to achieve your goal, it has to be identified. And sometimes when people set goals, they do not consider all these things, and then they wonder, "Oh God, I didn't achieve this goal for this month." It's because we've not sat down to look at what we need to be able to achieve those goals. So basically, those are the 5 execution questions. And I have picked that from how organizations go about achieving their set goals on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, asking the right questions. The same thing I said about resources applies to organizations too, because they're asking, what do we need? Sometimes it means asking the corporate team to invest in an additional line, saying, I will give you this volume you're asking, but I do not have the full resources to make it happen. So you want me to make it happen? I will need an investment into, for example, an additional line. If we apply all this to our personal goals, be it health, finance, career, whatever goal it is, you will find that you will automatically make progress in terms of achieving those goals. And you will find, because one thing I always tell people is once you achieve a goal, it sets the pace for other goals. You will find yourself continuously adjusting to that system of setting goals and achieving it. One thing I shouldn't forget to talk about before I zoom off is tracking these goals is very important. Every month in organizations, you will find us having something we call a review session where we are saying, you said you will do this. Have you done it? We are seeing, we are discussing this with data, not stories, eh? Not stories, with real facts and data. And we are asking the questions. You said you will sell for example, one case of this product, but you sold 0.8. What happened? So what cost it? Who is going to fix it? When are you going to fix it? What support do you require to fix it? I'm sure some people will listen to this and say, Debola started with BPMS. Yeah, BPMS is actually business performance management system. So it's a system where you set the goals and then you review the goals and then you take actions on how to get back on track. So that's what we do during these meetings, and that's what we should do for our personal lives as well. We should call ourselves to meetings every month to say, I said I would save this money. Did I save it? No. What happened? Can I fix it? Yeah. Whose support do I need to fix it? Ideally, we should always try to close the gaps. This is what organizations do. We should try to close. So if I say, I will be reading 3 books this month, and I read 2, next month I'm supposed to read 3. I have to find a way to read 4, just so I can close the gap. And I think holding ourselves accountable then makes us grow as a person, because we are not just leaving things to, oh God, it has happened. Okay, yeah, life moves on. Of course, we don't have to be too strict with ourselves, but we have to maintain that discipline of saying or of doing the things we say we will do. Because we know in organizations that's what happens. We hold each other accountable for the goals that we've set for ourselves. I hope that you've picked something out of this episode. And until next time, when I come your way again, I remain yours, Ade.